Today I would like to discuss a person who we have never fully discussed on this channel. Let's take a look at the life and the person named Brent Kopaka.
Welcome to the wonderful world of Strange Suspicion True Crime Series.
Step right out, folks. It's Strange the Clown here from the magical world of Strange Suspicion, welcoming you back with a big, colorful balloon bouquet of gratitude. Thank you to all of you wonderful carnival goers who joined us for our first reaction video ever. Some of you might have been a bit surprised that I didn't throw any shade, but here at Strange Suspicion, we're not about tossing pies in anybody else's face. Respect is one of our golden rules. We respect other people and we're darn proud of it. It's a great quality that shines brighter than the carnival lights at dusk. We felt the love from you amazing folks, and we wanted to extend our heartfelt gratitude for all of the super chats and all of the gifted memberships we received over the past 3 streams. Your incredible support has been like a shower of confetti and is truly appreciated. Let's talk about those gifted memberships though. Remember, it's just a magical pass that will last for 1 month. So remember to check that membership tab for your membership status. If you're enjoying your membership, please make sure that you renew your membership. Grab yourself $5 hairs. Your support helps us keep the giggles, the fun, true crime, paranormal, and strange and fantastic content your way. And we thrive on your smiles, your laughter, your wonderful presence at our shows, and we will keep the content flowing. Let's just keep the carnival magic alive together.
Coleman WSU has released the name of the officer who shot and killed a man threatening to kill his 2 roommates earlier this month. The school says Police Sergeant Bray Boyd killed a 36-year-old named Brent Kopaka in an off-campus apartment. Boyd is currently on administrative leave, which is standard procedure following the use of deadly force. Kopaka was a veteran who suffered a traumatic brain injury in Afghanistan and had severe PTSD, according to his family.
Escalating behavior and a continued danger to the public and others, the male was shot by a member of the Whitman County Regional SWAT team. The suspect was found deceased when the Whitman County Regional SWAT team cleared the apartment.
Brent was from Pennsylvania, which is the same state Bryan Kohberger was from, but allegedly there is no confirmation they knew each other. Perhaps they knew each other. It's also possible that they don't know each other. Either way, Brent was troubled. His best friend Darren Duncan did an interview with a YouTuber, and he indicated Brent was very unhappy with his living situation. He stated that Brent and his roommates never got along, and Brent had nothing in his room, which to me indicates maybe he moved his stuff out or he had to dispose of it. And he mentioned something super interesting about Brent's phone.
There was nothing in his room.
His phone was factory reset?
His phone was factory reset, and it was on the kitchen counter.
That's weird, bro.
It's super weird. The only thing that was left in his bedroom was some electronics that were broken, a safe that was broken, and his release forms from the Army. That was the only things, as far as I know, that's what I was told. That's what was left in his bedroom. You mean to tell me he didn't have a bed? He didn't have a dresser? He didn't have anything? So something is, it's very fishy. If I was there, I believe Brent would still be alive. What I honestly think happened that night is, I know that Brent did not like his roommates. Being in a situation like that with a gun involved, especially in this country, they're going to take it extremely serious. So the cops show up. I also think, due to proximity in distance and in time, I think that since the murders happened about 20 miles away, about a month before, I think that the cops, in their mind, may have been like, what if this is that kid that killed those people? Like, what if it's that guy? And so they go in full defense mode. They talked, well, actually, there was quite a bit of a lack of communication. From what I was told, they did try to give him a phone to speak with them, like a negotiator or whatever. He would not talk to them. And after 7 or 8 hours, they decided to shoot him.
Yeah, there was a mass shooting and everything. Where?
Guys, Brent Kopaka is no longer with us. He was tragically taken from this world when he was shot by a police officer.
2039.
4682, my info has identified the pool there.
Subject in the bedroom is a Jordan 20s. And then a Brent, unknown last, 35-year-old male.
which one supposedly has a...
First up, Brent is outside the bedroom. Possibly.
Clear the other car. Up to
2040.
406 in traffic.
2041.
Pullman 468, I see that one male got out of the apartment. He avoided contacting you on so you can get up there. Move ways away from the building.
Up. I'll call back.
680. Walking at 321. 406 road, no way time.
2043.
Responding units. I found a subject with a similar name. Should have found.
Copy. I see a light turning on and off in any kind of light. But I got the direction right.
Tonight.
468, any luck on? Flash that the person has got out.
I partner's talking to him now. I'm trying to get exact location. 47 in the area.
It's Pullman 406.
Good.
If there's any available, yes, they could respond from the victim's side, parking in the building you're walking.
2045. 468 Pullman.
Go ahead.
John is at the back parking lot. Dark gray jacket, blue pants, red black striped shirt. He's the one speaking with my partner. He's the one that got out.
Copy. 06 contact. Right. 4668. Correct. 4768.
Go ahead.
I believe it's going to be the top floor at your end. I saw a light coming on and off. If you want to keep an eye on that. You're here. Don't hear what we got.
Copy.
447. 406.
Good.
They're saying what parking lot side for May, and so they're not entirely sure which windows belong to that apartment.
She wasn't a patsy. He didn't work for the FBI or the CIA. There's no reason for him to be a patsy. I believe that the cops up. And this happens. Cops make mistakes. Cops are just women and men just like us. They have jobs to do. Everywhere you've ever worked, there are good performers and there are bad performers.
No mercy shown here.
Didn't find any bodies, did you? What could these kids have possibly done to bring this much hell down on them?
But in the end, he couldn't break free.
Do you feel safe staying in here tonight?
I mean, they were here for 3 or 4 hours, trying to get me to come out of the room.
Mm-hmm. What are they saying?
They would do things
Sam, I see you too.
Wait for me to turn my light on, or they would go around with their cell phone and call mine to see if it would go off, to listen for it, and they would call my phone over and number, stuff like that.
Okay. Have you had any alcohol tonight?
Police say the suspect's behavior escalated, and he began firing gunshots in his apartment.
At the time, I thought it was just really just fireworks or something like that, but very startling to hear.
Students living on campus nearby say it was scary to know how close they were to an active SWAT situation. The Pullman police chief says after the suspect would not comply, a SWAT member shot and killed him.
As a student, it's very scary. You don't really know who people are sometimes, especially it being in a really big school.
Now, in my Kopaka research, I ran across a video about a tragic story of a student who died a few years back in Pullman named Sam Martinez, who died as a result of a hazing incident. The most interesting part is that Sam died a few years ago in 2019, on November 12th, during a hazing incident. Idaho 4 happened on November 13th, and if the timeline is right, this happened on a Sunday, which means both these incidents happened on a hazing weekend. Nobody was charged because the 1-year statute of limitations had passed on hazing charges in Washington.
It was very challenging in a number of different ways.
Pullman Police Chief Gary Jenkins has seen hundreds of investigations over the years, but none quite like this one.
And we talked to, I believe, over 70 potential witnesses. Most of the witnesses are not Pullman residents. These are the types of interviews that we don't want to do over the telephone. Also, there were many of the witnesses were reluctant witnesses and didn't want to get to get their friends into trouble.
According to the police report, WSU freshman Sam Martinez died the morning of November 12th after a night of drinking with current and prospective members of the Alpha Tau Omega fraternity. It was a Monday night. Records state Sam and at least 2 other fellow fraternity members started the night with a half-gallon bottle of rum. By around 10:30, witnesses say it was almost empty. One member described Sam as really drunk. Another recalled seeing him being carried down the stairs around 11:30. They said Sam was eventually put to bed next to a trash can. He was discovered not breathing the next morning around 8:30. The coroner later determined Sam had already been dead for several hours, the result of acute alcohol poisoning. His blood alcohol content was 0.372, almost 5 times the legal limit for an adult, though Sam was just 19 years old.
Pullman police tell me they strategically allowed the 1-year statute of limitations on hazing charges expire, believing they would ultimately find enough evidence on Sam's phone to be able to pursue felony charges for manslaughter. It's why they brought in that outside vendor, Celebrite, in hopes of cracking Sam's phone's security. But here's the thing, even if police are able to get past a phone's security measures, they often need to get into individual messaging apps like Facebook or Snapchat. The police chief tells me there's no way to even know someone's Snapchat username unless they're given that information. And in this case, he says Snapchat was never able to give detailed enough information about Sam's specific account or messages. Detectives say they saw notifications from Snapchat on Sam's phone from the morning after he died, but they were never able to get in and read them, even though they believe that information could have dramatically changed this investigation.
It's not a new problem. Snapchat and other apps, even tech giants like Apple, have been increasingly reluctant to share security bypass information. After 2 terrorist shootings in San Bernardino and Pensacola, Apple famously refused to create a backdoor for law enforcement despite a court order, saying their promise of privacy and encryption are paramount, and that a backdoor, even for police, could weaken security for millions of customers. Snapchat, too, is highly protective of customer privacy, but is also limited by the short-term nature of its platform. According to its law enforcement guide online, snaps or messages are permanently deleted and unavailable once they are opened. If a snap is unopened, it may remain on Snapchat servers, but only for up to 30 days. Pullman PD did get search warrants for both Snapchat and Facebook content back in February of 2020, 3 months after Sam's death. But both came back with no new evidence for Sam's case.
It's just unbearable.
In the meantime, Sam's family has filed a lawsuit against Washington State University and the national organization of Alpha Tau Omega, saying the culture of hazing is what resulted in their son's death. 15 current or former members are now charged with furnishing alcohol to a minor, a misdemeanor that carries a maximum penalty of 1 year in jail and a $5,000 fine.
These charges are very minor charges against these 15 people.
After the prosecuting attorney reviewed this case, they determined that the only charge that they could substantiate was the furnishing liquor to a minor.
What evidence would have changed that on his cell phone?
Well, we could have found some texts between some of the parties involved and Sam, maybe apologizing for something or making some type of statements that would lead more toward culpability.
It sounds like you're fairly confident there was wrongdoing, and in this particular instance, those people may never be held accountable.
That's true. Yeah, like as I mentioned, there's some things that I think we don't know. There's things we weren't told, and so I think there are some people out there that were more directly responsible for Sam's death.
So Sam Martinez lost his life to hazing, and the frat boys got tickets for giving alcohol to a minor. It's almost been 2 years in the Idaho 4 case. What if it was a rival frat in Washington that had to do with these murders, and allegedly Brent helped them in some way? That's allegedly something to think about, because These towns are so close, the rivalry is real, guys. And steroids and heavy drugs are all over these campuses. Maybe Brent sold them drugs, maybe he did drugs and that's where he bought them. Either way, let's look at this from all angles. Let's be unbiased and just make sense of Brent allegedly being involved. Why the factory reset on his phone? Why did he remove any traces of himself from that apartment? Was he paranoid? Did he owe someone money and he knew they were on his trail? Things to think about. Share your thoughts.
Your Honor, Bryan is innocent. Bryan has been essentially convicted in the media. He has a right to have this information withheld, brought out in public, so that people can see it's not this neat little package. So people can start to wonder if Bryan's innocent. Your Honor, Bryan is innocent. So if I talk about things that are in the affidavit, and if I talk about things that we're seeking that the state wants to hide, I think that's fair game for the public to hear. The number you associated with Brent Kopaka. Brent Kopaka.
Mr. Kohberger's
here.
You guys, Brent Kopaka is no longer with us. He was tragically taken from this world when he was shot by a police officer. Now in this topsy-turvy tent of life, we have no words from Brent himself. So all we're left with is like a big bag of assumptions. And remember, both Ann Taylor and Judge let his name slip out accidentally. Whoops-a-daisy, but here's the carnival truth. When a suspect passes away in Idaho, it's like the final act of the carnival show. The curtain falls, the prosecution stops, the charges vanish like a magic trick, and the name gets erased from the case. Now, I may be a clown, but this is no joke, and I do know that Kopaka lived in Washington State. If a murder suspect meets their end there, it's the same story under a different big top. The criminal proceedings stop, the charges are dismissed, and the case closes like a clamshell. So, if he were involved, neither Washington nor Idaho could keep his name on the case, because once you are deceased, the carnival ride of the prosecution comes to a halt.
Kopaka served in the U.S. Army between 2005 and 2009 in the 2nd Battalion, 508th Parachute Infantry Regiment, 4th Brigade Combat Team, 82nd Airborne Division. He was awarded the Purple Heart for his service in Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan, where he sustained a traumatic brain injury during combat. Kopaka's family said in his obituary that over the last 16 years, he fought a courageous ongoing battle against PTSD.
So here are some words straight from my heart. As a veteran myself, I can tell you that PTSD is a very real and heavy issue for folks like Brent and even me. We've seen things that you can't even begin to imagine, and many of us live with a lot of fear and guilt. It's a tough ride, and it can be hard to keep the balance on this tightrope of life. Even though all of this might make it seem like Brent could have been involved or connected to the case, let's take a look at him with kindness and celebrate who he was without casting any judgment. He was a person with a story, just like you and like me. Ultimately, it's up to you to form your own thoughts on this. But if you ask me, he might just have been an easy target who knew something that weighed heavily on his heart. Whether it was related to the Idaho 4 or his combat experiences, I hope he's found peace. Please share your thoughts with me and remember to add category suggestions for trivia night. We'll see you on Thursday at 6 p.m. Thanks for hanging out with your favorite clown folks. I love you all. Stay kind, stay curious, and keep the spirit of the carnival alive. If you happen to know a veteran who is suffering from PTSD, please pass this information on. The Veterans Crisis Hotline can be reached by dialing 988 and then press 1 to connect with a caring, trained responder. You can also text 838-255 and chat online with veteranscrisisline.net. Remember, you're never alone under this big top. Reach out, stay strong, and know that help is always available.